So in the last lot of videos, you created columns, rows, and a container for your mobile layout, which effectively is putting everything into one column. Now we're going to add extra classes so that we are doing a layout for computer screens. Now you'll notice in the file that I'm working on there are no color backgrounds. If you have added color backgrounds that have broken up your design into multiple containers, please watch the other video about creating the computer layout with colored backgrounds. This is a lot simpler, so if you didn't put backgrounds in, this is the video to watch. Okay, so let's get cracking. We have our container around everything. You can see that code there. I'll just zoom in a little bit more. I'll move these across so we can read them a bit better. We've got our row and we've got our first column. Now our first column is the heading. And if we recall what this looks like, I'm just going to get my layout images up now. So if we have a look at our computer layout, it is 12 Bootstrap columns wide anyway, so we don't actually change this one. We can leave that and it will stay the same for all sizes. If we go to our next column, we'll see currently that it is 12 columns wide, but in our layout here, our wireframe, it's not 12 columns wide. This would be about 6 columns wide and offset so that it's not right at the very left. So all we do here is we add an extra class. Col12 is the mobile first one. That is for the extra small size. What we need to do is col LG6. So now we're saying the column for the large sizes is 6. And then we need to offset it. So we've got col as one thing that we instruct, and we can also say offset hyphen LG hyphen 3 in this case. Why 3? Well, because 3 plus 3 is 6. So it means that half of it is to the left, half of it will be left over to the right, and it will make things nice and centered. So there we can see that happening right now, which is fabulous. So let's move down further. Again, I'll just get the mock-up up. Now we're looking at 2 columns. We've got an image, we've got headings, and we've got body text, and we've got the same happening over here. So let's do that right now. So our first column here is col12, so it is full width currently. So we have to do what we did up here of making a narrower column, and because we're wanting 2 columns in there, so 2 columns wide there, we'll say col LG6, because 6 plus 6 equals 12, or in other words, half of 12 is 6. Now if I scroll down, you'll see that yes, that's made it half the width, but the other one is still 12 columns wide, so it gets pushed down. And that's how the mobile view works. Basically, we're not putting extra rows in at all when we did this last week. All we were doing was ensuring that the width of our column, when you added them together, forced it to wrap, because 6 plus 12, that's way bigger than 12, so you're going to have to push the next one down. Okay, so back here we've got col12 col LG6, and if we go to the next column where we've got col12, we'll say col LG6 here. So just a reminder, this is the mobile view because we're mobile first in Bootstrap, so the default is the smaller mobile size, and then we just instruct it, once you get up to this size, make the change to col LG6. Let's have a look to see if that worked, and yes, it worked. Fantastic. So the only thing I have left to do in this particular design is do the same thing down here that I did up the top, which is set it to 6 columns wide and offset it by 3. Our footer is the same, so that will still be col12 because it's the same for both mobile and for computer screens. So I'll give myself a bit more room here. This is the one that we want to offset just down here. It'll be easier for you to identify sections because you'll have meaningful headings and actual text. Col LG6 and offset LG3. Terrific. Now I could change these sizes if I decide that that's too narrow. I mean, I think that's fine for this one here, but maybe the first one, I think it's a little bit narrow where I've got it offset. So I might decide col LG8. Now I recommend you use an even number if you want it to be centered, because you know we can't do half a column offset. If we're doing col LG8, 12 minus 8 leaves 4. 4 divided by 2, so you've got half on the left, half on the right is 2. And this is how we can do that. So there we go. So if I go and have a look at the full page mode, we can see we have a computer view happening here. And all I need to do is reduce the size of this. So I'll just move this so that I can reduce the size of it. And there we go. When we reduce the browser size, we can see it condense into one column for mobile devices, and that's exactly what we wanted to have happen. The only thing left is, I mean, obviously you'll have color for your headings to draw the eye to the headings, and you will have 3 images, 400 words. You'll have color drawing eye to the headings, and you'll have your own web font working. But let's add a little bit more padding here. It's very, very tight. It's very crowded. So we want to have a bit more padding, and that's actually really easy to do. Now you'll have your own CSS through here, but I can do something as simple as adding some padding to a div, because currently I'm using divs for all of the layout, and so I can just, if I added it to the row, it wouldn't appear in the columns, and that's problematic in the mobile device view. But for if I just do div padding top 1em, padding bottom 1em, and that will just add a bit of padding at the top of each column, at top of each row. Let's go and have a look to see if this works. And there we go. We've got a little bit more spacing happening here. I think the only other place I'd want a little bit more spacing is maybe just a little bit more below the images, so we're not immediately jumping into that text. So again, I'll go back to the view in editor. So I'll make this a little bit bigger. And where I've got the image width 100%, I might say margin bottom 1em. And I'm not going to go back to the full screen again. I'm just going to scroll down. That's a little bit better. You might want to do 2em even. But use padding and margins. So just to remind you, padding happens inside the border. So if you have a colored background or an image background, it will actually be within the color within the image, and it will make it bigger. Margin is on the outside of the border, and so it will add more white space between that element and the next element. But if there's a colored background or image background, it's on the outside of that color or that image. Good luck. If you have any questions, post to the discussion forum.